So just tell me a little bit about how you're feeling right now.
Well, we feel good for the family of Rachel Rhoads. This has been a long time to get to this point. A lot of things have happened during the course of this trial that we didn't get into in court, but it did take a number of years to get us here. And we just feel good today that justice was delivered for Rachel, for her mother, her father who passed after she was murdered while this case was pending. And we just feel good for all of the family today.
One thing that I did want to touch on, this happened in 2018. Obviously, justice can take a long time. There's a pandemic in there, but can you talk about it?
Well, there's a couple of things that took that were unique in this case. Number one, so many counties that where Rachel was killed, where she was transported to, there were multiple crime scene locations. Ultimately, she was not killed in Upshur County. She was killed in Gregg County and then brought to Upshur County where she was dumped and then later set on fire here. Then the defendant who had stolen the victim's car fled to Dallas in the Bedford area outside of Fort Worth, where he had connections to, and he had an 8-day head start on law enforcement, and a lot of evidence was lost. But with all of the amount of crime scenes and all the evidence that was gathered, there was a lot sent for testing. We had the pandemic that occurred where COVID shut the labs down in the state, so testing was not being done. And another thing that happened during the course of this case is the prior attorney became the elected district attorney in Gregg County, Mr. John Moore, who was the prior attorney for Carlton Grant. So that delayed things for an additional year when new counsel had to be appointed. So there's a lot of variables and a lot of things that occurred.
Cool. So testimony, they met on March 29th. Do you have any idea how they might have known each other before, how they came into contact?
They never knew each other before that day. On March 29th, he was at a house of someone he did know, which was Rachel's roommate. Rachel had just recently moved into that home, and that was the first day that Carlton Grant ever laid eyes on Rachel Rhoads. And so after he saw her, knowing she was about to leave, he requested a ride for himself and his girlfriend, Lindsay McFadden, and he got in the back seat of her car and he took her life. He wrapped a wire around her neck, bringing her and dragging her to the back seat, where then he began to assault and beat her, and then place a zip tie tightly around her neck, suffocating and strangling her to death. We believe that he did this just for purposes of needing a vehicle. Rachel was nice, she was kind, she was caring. This person requested a ride, and so she gave a ride, and by giving the defendant the ride that day, it cost her life.
Do you have any update on McFadden's case?
McFadden is in jail. She's been in jail as well. She's indicted for capital murder, and we will take that case up after we resolve this, and a little bit of time passes, and then we will get to her case.
But do you plan on pursuing it? Yes,
we are going to pursue charges against Lindsay McFadden.
What were your conversations with Rachel's family like this morning?
Very emotional. When I first met Rachel's parents, it was a very emotional time, and they were just heartbroken. Their hearts, Andrea, the mother, her heart's still broken today. She misses so much her daughter, and just being able to share in tears and relief for them that justice was accomplished and served by this jury. And this jury did a very good job listening to some very difficult evidence, paying attention closely to the evidence, but the evidence concluded beyond a reasonable doubt. And in my opinion, beyond any doubt, Carlton Grant committed the offense of capital murder, and they returned that verdict based on that.
What's your message to the citizens of Upshur County? A lot of times that these cases, people say, have a greater message, especially when things as tragic as this happen.
Well, I think the message is this. There were so many law enforcement agencies that were involved in the investigation of this case. It took so much teamwork. We've got really good teamwork here in Upshur County, but we have partners outside of the county that our officials and our investigators work with. They did such a good job on gathering the evidence in this case, but I think it sends a message here. Life is important. Life means something. And when a person takes another human being's life, whether it be here or whether they bring that person here, we're going to pursue justice, and we intend to get it each and every time for our victims.
There's something you said in your closing statement. The victim had a head start on us, but even though we're gonna do whatever it takes, could you kind of touch on that moment?
Well, I told in the closing arguments to the jury today that he did have an 8-day head start. There was a lot of evidence that he destroyed. He had the ability to destroy it and get rid of it, but he wasn't able to get rid of it all. And as I told that jury very clearly today, we will go to any extent, whatever it takes, however far we have to go to find the evidence, gather the witnesses, and bring them before the bar of justice. We did that here today, and we will continue to do it.